What's up, everybody? This is going to be episode 42 of an Untold Narrative. I'm super excited for this episode. We feature somebody who I've actually never video chatted with or haven't met in person yet.
True.
Myles O'Meally,
Yeah.
who is currently in the UK. Thanks for joining us, man.
Thanks for having me on. Super excited to have this chat, man. And like you said, we've never actually officially met in person or even had a video call, but we shared quite a few WhatsApp messages and emails and stuff. Actually, that's a good point. I didn't even realize that until you said it. But yeah.
Isn't it amazing how you can do this with an internet and you can have this friendship and relationship with somebody that you've never met, and then as soon as we hopped on video, it's like we actually met before.
Yeah, it just felt really like normal. Like it was just totally true. It just didn't feel weird at all. It's just totally it felt really normal, really natural.
Just talking shit about Djokovic's game before.
Yeah.
What is your, when you're sitting on an airplane or on a train or whatever, like what's your 30-second elevator pitch about yourself and what you do?
As of today, 30-second elevator pitch. I mean, I'd have to begin with the company that I run now. So I'd have to begin with the company that I run. So I'm the founder of a footwear design and engineering studio called Arete. And Arete basically is a studio that we take care of everything in the footwear creation process from A to Z, from the brief right through to the production. And me as the founder of this, have a background in design engineering. So yeah, that would be like, and we work with brands in the fashion industry. We help manage and create their footwear programs.
Super cool. Yeah, we're gonna get into how do you say it again?
Arete.
Arete. I was totally gonna butcher that as well.
Yeah, it's okay. What I like about that one is that so much about like my character and what we do is kind of like low key and a little vague. And what I also like about the Arete name is most people don't know how to say it, like they forget it, like quite like that as well, that it's not an easy name to say or repeat.
But they know how to spell it. I think
you know how to spell it, sure. Like you can type it into the internet and you can find, but yeah, to say it, to speak it, I kind of like the fact that it's kind of difficult to repeat.
Yeah. Well, we'll deep dive into your actual company, but where were you born, raised? Kind of what's your family background? Kind of how did you design engineering even as a subject matter is very specific and niche. So
yeah,
how do you what's your background? Kind of where you grew up and stuff like that.
So I mean, I'm currently now at my parents' house. So this is where I was born in Birmingham in England, and now my parents live in Redditch, which is like a town south of Birmingham. And this is where Birmingham is where I spent all of my first years of my life, really. I have a Jamaican father and an English mother. My father was a very good runner when he was younger than me. I'm 31 now, so when he was like mid-teens, late teens, early 20s, he was a very good runner. He ran Olympic trials. He had scholarship to America. He was 800 meters. He was very, very good, very, very good. And then my mom, for the last 10 years or so, has been a head teacher. So I guess you can say, like, with that background, there's a lot of like discipline and like focus. That's kind of been like put into myself and my sister from a young age. And then on top of that as well, like we touched on earlier, like I actually played tennis for like I said, like 15 plus years of my life was dedicated to this sport. And I guess through my dad having that application to sport as well, literally I played, like I train every day, 3, 4, 5 hours. My training center was like an hour away from where I live, so I take the train 1 hour every day there and 1 hour back, from the age of 10 to like 18, 19.
Was your goal to like play professional or
something? Yeah, my goal 100% was to be a pro, 100%. Yeah.
You must be pretty decent.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, as a junior, I was internationally ranked. Like my top ranking in the UK got to around 25 in the country at like 16, 17. Like I was, yeah, I was not bad, you know.
Oh
Uh,
shit.
but then like the transition for me where I stumbled was from juniors to men's to adults game. It's a completely different game. And, you know, and I was quite small for my age, and I've never been like a big guy, you know, it's quite small for my age. So I didn't really have the power or the strength to really like take that step up. So I struggled when I went from juniors to seniors. I played like half a year on the men's tour, and was just like, yeah, this is not for me. So
How,
so
so
yeah, yeah,
how do you go from devoting your life to something like tennis, thinking that you have a shot? I mean, being top 25 in an entire country is pretty crazy, by the way. Uh,
yeah, yeah,
but like, how do
yeah.
you go from making the decision like, okay, this can't be my path because I'm just clearly not made for it, to how do you transition to something new, and what was that something new?
I mean, the other side, I mean, when I was going through school and stuff, I always had like two sides to me. One was obviously the focus on the sport and that application and that enjoyment and passion I had for the sport, but also the second side was just the interest in like creating. I remember one of the classes I was most interested in at school was obviously PE, but I didn't really count because I was doing it every day anyway. And then I was really interested in um, like the woodwork classes that we did, and the and the graphic classes as well. Like I really remember a very clear vision, and like really in being taught how to do like 2D sketches of objects. So you'd have like the multiple views, you
Yeah,
know, Vibram, how a 2D blueprint looks with the lateral view, the medial view, front, back, da, da, da. I remember being taught how to sketch these at like 15, maybe even a bit younger, 14, 15. I remember like really enjoying that, like nerding out over that, you
like
know.
a front view, back view, side view, top view.
Yeah, just the really classics, just multiple
Yeah,
views, and being taught how to draw them out and like so that they make sense to each other, that they're in line, you know. Start on the front view, you draw across, you draw up and down for the front and the backs, you know. So yeah, just I remember that like vividly and really enjoying that. And I remember like I really enjoyed that at school. So but I didn't pursue it at that age because I was still obviously pursuing the sport. So it was really when I stopped playing tennis at like 19, yeah, 19. I was when because like I said, I went from junior to seniors at 18 is the year you have to transition. And I tried for 6 months to a year. So it was 19 when I was like, okay, this ain't for me now anymore, unfortunately. So that was when I was like, okay, I reverted back to like what interests me at school. So I started to look into what university degrees were out there that kind of sat in the middle of sport and this engineering, design, construction kind of world. Um, Obviously, at that time as well, I really wanted to stay in sport in some way. So the idea was if I can't perform at this level myself, then let me be the creator of the equipment that the athletes use to perform at that level, you know, because I understand what is needed because that was me as well. So
100%.
that was kind of my original goal, my original idea was to then move into that, you know, like let me be the creator of the equipment of the product for these athletes. So I looked at the course I found was sports technology, which was at the end, it didn't turn out to be what I thought it was, but it gave me the foundation still, you know, it started me on the journey anyway. So, but it was really when like I did my master's in design engineering at Loughborough Uni, that was when it got really, really focused, and I was able to really get into like really nerd out on all the engineering side of like of making product, you know. And that was when it really like went up a few gears.
So what I love about that is like you put the terms design and engineering together, right?
Yeah,
Like, as one uniform subject matter, where
yeah,
it's pretty rare from my perspective. Like you have design and you have development, and
yeah.
there's usually a wall in between, right? And you
That
seem to merge the two worlds.
that's literally where I sit because I'm not an out and out engineer. I'm also not an out and out designer. Like if you give me a blank piece of paper and say sketch something beautiful completely out of your mind, I'm going to struggle a little bit, to be honest.
Okay.
You know, I could have some ideas, but it's not going to be super beautiful. You know, I could put something down, but that's not where my strength is. And then like on the flip side, if you put me 100% in the engineering environment, I can do it. But again, it's not where like I'm really comfortable and where I really want to be. If you give me if you give me a sketch of something, already an idea of something, I can then take that and I can redesign it, I can re-engineer it and like create something from that that is more functional, maybe even more beautiful, technically more advanced, etc., etc. That's kind of where I sit strongest. If you already provide me with something like can be a really rough, flat drawing, a really rough, flat idea of something, then that's when my creativity will kick in, you know,
So
and it
you're elevating the idea.
yeah, essentially, it will really kick in because I'll combine the creative side of it, like their design, with also some creative ideas of my own off the back of their original idea, but then with the engineering, like functionality, the engineering know-how. So I'll put those two together, and then I'll just elevate it and move it forward. That's where I'm strongest. So I really do sit like in this very unique niche, kind of weird space
Yeah.
in between these two worlds. Yeah.
It's 100% a little unorthodox in footwear, but I think that's probably why you've had some success
Mm.
thus far, right? And so you said you got your master's degree in design engineering. What
Yeah.
year
Yeah.
was that?
What year?
Yeah, yeah.
I graduated 2013.
Okay,
So
so
quite some time ago now, eight years ago.
when once you get your master's degree, what happens after, right? Like, how did you know you wanted to do footwear or?
No, no, that's the crazy thing. No, I didn't study anything on footwear, man. Didn't do one class, one module. I liked footwear as a fan, of course. Like when I
Sure.
played tennis, when I played football, soccer, like it was important to me to have nice tennis shoes, nice football boots. I was always interested in like the design and the construction of. I always wanted to have interesting footwear, and like also then on the, you know, like I remember having a pair of Adidas Run DMCs, you know, superstars that I loved, and the TNs when they came out, I freaked out, you know. So I was always like interested, but I never thought like, oh, I want to make this, you know. I think I was more interested in like hard goods. So like my master's project I did was on shin pads in football. So I wanted to look into how you could make protective equipment more conform to your own particular shape and body, right? So that's when I looked, very early days of 3D printing and 3D design. I looked into that basically software, and I found this phone app, and I scanned my friend's leg with the phone app and exported that image to SolidWorks, and then designed a shin guard that fitted exactly the shape of his leg, and then printed that out, and then like did a whole series of like physical tests, dynamic tests on it, and all this kind of different stuff, you know. And I pitched that to Umbro, and that was a whole cycle of different
Really?
things. Yeah, Umbro
Oh
were really
shit.
interested at the time. You know, Umbro were really interested by the process of it, but it wasn't marketable because 3D printing back then was mad
No, 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 no,
expensive.
totally. You were
Like
ahead of the game.
each shin guard, I only made half a pair. I made three designs, half a leg each. So I could then put a regular shin guard on my friend's left leg, and then we could do all the tests, the
Yep.
performance tests in that way. But one shin guard, not a pair, one was like £100 at the time, you know.
Oh shoot.
So a pair would be 200 plus then all the work to do it, like, and then a markup for profit. It's like five. No, it's just no. It's not
It
going to
didn't make
happen. It
sense, yeah.
didn't make any sense.
But it's a
But that
cool
was,
exploratory.
pardon.
It's a cool exploratory.
Like basically that's what it was. I was just trying to like see how you could, you know, what tools there were to make protective equipment. So I did shin guards, but it could be the same for the equestrian world. It could be the same for motorcycling, motocross, all these different sports where
Totally.
protective equipment was required. How could you make it fit better? And that's all it was. So at that time, I was really more interested in hard goods, even to the point where there was this. I was hit up through LinkedIn, like back then. This woman had her own quite a big equestrian brand where she was making like all the leg protectors for horses and stuff. and she saw that customized project and was interested if I could like take that principle into the world of equestrian. But yeah, I didn't. I mean, I spoke to her about it, but so at that time I was really just hard goods, sports equipment, you know, maybe even tennis rackets, something like this, you know. So footwear wasn't on my radar at all.
So what was your first tangible job that you got after your master's?
That was Nike. That was where it all began. It was
Oh,
crazy.
okay.
Yeah.
You jumped
So
right into it.
my first job, I applied for the footwear developer role that I did in Amsterdam for the first 2 years. I applied for that just before I finished my master's, and I did 3 interview rounds. And you know, a long story short, I got the job, and it was like incredibly just so lucky. You know, I was just right place, right time. There was a line manager, Fabio, who he was looking like the job I got was there on the description. It said 3+ years of experience in the industry, and I wasn't going to apply because of that. And I had a lecturer at Loughborough who told me just apply, man. Like, what have you got to lose? So I applied anyway. But Fabio, the line manager, he was specifically looking for someone who had no experience, the right education, and just wanted to give them the opportunity young to like mold them and, you know, just give them the opportunity. So I got really lucky because they were looking for that. They weren't looking for someone with experience. So yeah, I got super lucky.
Doesn't
Did
that doesn't that speak volumes? Because so many like college students or whatever, they'll send me a message and they'll be like, oh, I don't know if I should apply to this. And like, it's so true though, right? Like, if you don't apply, regardless of the experience, you're never going to know the answer.
You're never going to know, and you don't know what the line manager is looking for. The line manager, of course, they're going to have to put on their 3 years plus experience. They can't put on their looking for
Zero,
someone from
yeah, they
school,
can't
because
put
then they'll
0
just get
years.
like, you'll get millions of applications, you know. So they have to put on there. But Fabio was, because Fabio also started at Nike at 21 in Italy, and where they have the football team in Montebelluna.
Yep.
So he wanted to give what he was given to someone else. This was his first, because he was a young manager. He was 33 at that time, so he was super young. He wanted to give what was given to him to someone else. In his first opportunity of hiring,
That's
he wanted
amazing.
to use that to get, you know, to give an opportunity to someone else. And that's what he did. And yeah, so that's what I mean. I was right place, right time, did my 3 interviews, and yeah, I got the job. And then that was my first time on footwear, was day one at Nike.
And so just for context, for obviously a lot of the listeners of this podcast are from the States, but Nike does have a quote unquote headquarters in Amsterdam. I
Yeah.
didn't know there was a footwear division. I thought it was more sales and marketing, but
No,
maybe talk about the office a little bit in terms of like what your team was and things like
sure.
that.
So it's in a town called Hilversum, which is just like half an hour outside of Amsterdam, but most people live in Amsterdam, of course. And there you have, it's the European headquarters. So it's the headquarters for the whole of Europe. And yeah, you have a lot of marketing, a lot of merchandising, a lot of sales, a lot of energy. So you have, of course, you have like sub teams based in all the key cities, Paris and Berlin and Milan and stuff, where a lot of energy and marketing is also driven. But those teams then revert back to the European headquarters, where you have the VPs, and then they obviously then report back to the world headquarters in Portland. So yeah, it's a big office. I guess now it must be almost 2,000 employees there, because when I was there, it was like 1,600-700, and that was, you know, like I said, 2014, 15, 16. So now, and there must be almost 2,000 employees there, I guess. And then my specific team was called, at the time, was called Western Europe Product Creation. So we did no new models. All the new models were still done in Portland. So we were given existing silhouettes, existing styles that had a high degree of relevancy in Western Europe. And we just would basically make them more relevant for Western Europe through colors and graphics and material treatments. And we'd work on like collaborations with stores like Size and Foot Locker.
Sure.
We do like special packs for key cities like London or Berlin, you know. So we just knew, obviously being European, we knew the European consumer better, and we just made no new styles, but we would recreate on existing bestsellers. You know, different touches and colors, materials, graphics, etc. That would be more applicable for the European consumer. And that's what I did for the first 2 years. I was a developer in that team.
So talk about your experience at, I think based on some research, you were there for 5 years, and
Yeah,
the majority of it sounds like you were overseas, actually, not
yeah.
not in Amsterdam. So talk about why that opportunity presented itself, and then two, why did you take it?
I mean, so again, like throughout my career, I've been quite fortunate with being in the right place at the right time, I guess. And then like, I'm a big believer in anyone who's successful. Before I answer the question, anyone who's successful has luck, has a different degrees of luck. It's impossible to be successful and not have luck, you know, but you make your own luck. I believe that 100%. You make your own luck through, you know, through hard work and wittiness and just, you know, just being smart and savvy and pushing. And, you know, there's many ways that you can do that, but you really make your own luck as well. But yeah, so towards the end of my 2 years in the Western Europe product creation team, Nike were going through a huge reorganization. Like I'm sure you know, they always, like every 5-6 years, these big corporate firms, they go through these crazy reorgs, they get rid of departments, they fire a lot of people. Like everyone is hella stressed during this period. It's crazy.
I think it's more frequent today. I think it's
I
more
think because of COVID, they definitely they've increased the rate of these, definitely. I mean, I was only there for 5 years and I went through 2 of them. And then shortly after I left, COVID hit, they had another one. So yeah, I mean, definitely. But they went through this crazy big reorg, and they basically just it was at the time where Adidas were killing Nike. It was really like a bit of a panic time within the brand. So they changed how the product creation teams were set up. So they basically canceled all the regional product creation centers, which I thought was a crazy, stupid decision. But anyway, they closed all the regional product creation centers and moved everything back to Portland, which obviously meant my team, we had nowhere to work, you know.
Sure.
And I couldn't move to Portland because I'd only been there for 2 years. So the visa process for me for America would have been a headache. And obviously they didn't want to let me go. So they offered me the opportunity to move to Asia. First it was China. And then that job didn't come through, and they offered me another one to Vietnam. So I was very lucky because, again, I was the first from Europe ever to make that move.
Wow.
And I was the first of at that time I was a developer 1. I was the first. Within Nike, you have to be a developer 2 to get a Asia expat contract, that move. You have to be a developer 2. So I was also the first developer 1 to ever get moved to within the whole brand, which was crazy.
Let me push that thought a little bit. What do you think was the reason? Was your work just so dialed, or was it like right timing?
I think, again, I had amazing managers. Both, yeah. I had my immediate manager and then the manager of the whole Western Europe product creation team, FILAR. They both were just like so into me, you know. They were both just really wanting to help me, you know. They were really good people. And within Nike, it's such a hierarchical company and culture that your manager can make or break your career. It's kind of fucked, you know. But if you have a good line manager and you have the right attitude and you're passionate, you're aspirational, all these different things, and you're talented, you know, you have a good chance of moving up through the company. So I had 2 really good managers that were pushing hard for me. I had this kind of perfect storm where Nike didn't really have anywhere to put me, or they would let me go, which I don't think my line managers obviously would report to whoever at that time was making decisions about who would be let go, who would be moved. They were probably saying, look, this guy you can't let go. We need to find somewhere for him. So I was probably fortunate. I don't know those conversations, but probably something like that was being said. So yeah, I was just really fortunate in that sense. And then for me, like having this really geeky, nerdy, technical engineering, always been wanting to find interest in how things are made. Like the opportunity to work for Nike in the factories was like 100%. Let's go, man. Like also Asia, what what exploration that would be. I've always traveled a lot through my tennis, and I've always been interested in different cultures. I've also always been someone that's like wanting to push themselves, not stay in your comfort zone, and just go, man, just give things a shot. And it's always been in my nature to be quite risk taking.
Yeah, but that's your mindset's on another level. Your average human is not taking that chance.
Yeah,
Going
yeah.
to Asia of all places for a lot of people is scary.
Yeah, I mean, I moved at 26, so I was quite young, 26 by myself as well, and it was, yeah, it was like it
So
was crazy. Yeah,
you were there for 3 years in
yeah,
Asia, right? So
yeah.
what do you think was the highlight, and what was like the hardest part?
The hardest part was the homesickness. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie, like that was hard. Even the first year was so hard, and then but it never went away. All the 3 years I had moments, like just crazy amount of FOMO, like missing out on so many events. Social media is the worst thing to
Yeah.
have in that period. Like just watching all my friends just party and go to this event and that event, and just man, it was
And
really, that was,
that's like 2016, 17, 18. Like
yeah.
that's like the social media is booming.
Honestly, it was crazy. And also me myself, like in my mid 20s, just like having so much fun in
Oh,
Amsterdam, so much fun in Europe. I was just like enjoying that my the Nike life in Europe, enjoying Amsterdam so much. The friends that I have there, the daily paper guys, filling pieces, Olaf, TNO, like we had such a good crew of people, and we're just having fun, man. Just so, I cried on the flight to Vietnam, man. When I left Amsterdam, I physically cried. I couldn't stop crying. So it was like yeah, really hard on the homesickness, but there was a lot of highs as well, man. Like I traveled Asia, traveled so much. I traveled the whole of Asia. Site. I lived in Ho Chi Minh, but
mhm.
Singapore, Shanghai, Manila, Seoul, Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka, uh, Bali, Jakarta. I went everywhere. I just traveled so much while I was there. I met so many amazing people. I made so many amazing friends. Um, I grew so much. I developed so much career-wise. Like working for 3 years in the factories, I saw the entire process,
Yeah.
the supply chain, the materials, the finance, the business. That's where I learned the business side of things. Um, how all the mechanics work, the factories, how the production lines are run, technically all the machines, the applications that you can use. I worked across all the categories. Core performance running, I did 3 shoes for Off-White. I did football boots, American baseball cleats, American football boots. I did just so much in 3 years. So like my growth just exploded, but at the same time there was days where I wanted to leave. I just wanted just to go back, after like a year, then again a year and a half, then again at 2 years. So many moments where I was like, I'm leaving, I'm done.
Miles, when you were just talking about that, man, I had chills run up my entire fucking
Yeah.
spine, dude. Like that's what this is like what people don't understand is like you got to take a chance. Like I'm assuming today you're super stoked that you had that opportunity. You wouldn't trade it.
Honestly, zero regrets. And I'm also so happy that I went through those hard times, because it really built me. And I'm so proud of myself that like I stuck at it, but at the same time, it wasn't, like Nike took care of me too. I can't be like this hardship kind of like thing, because I had a really good accommodation that was paid for. I had a driver, and, I had obviously a good salary for where I was, and all these kind of different things. So there was a lot of positives, but just, of course, yeah, I mean, if you just on the surface of that 26, 27-year-old, there was also a lot of the things that I just was missing out on, but I kept looking at the bigger picture of everything and the long-term goals, and what I was really in this for was way bigger than partying at Paris Fashion Week for this 1 week. Paris Fashion Week is always going to be there, So I just kept reminding myself of that, like the bigger picture whenever I was like feeling down and feeling like homesick or something. And it paid off. And also just, again, I was so passionate about the geeky stuff. I really genuinely enjoyed being in the factories. It was kind of weird, but I genuinely enjoyed being in the factories. So as soon as I went to work, I was like, all right, cool.
So I'm assuming your days flew by like working, because it wasn't even like where you were just enjoying it, and then the nights and kind of the loneliness is kind of what the challenging parts were.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
The
yeah, and
weekends,
that's
like the weekends that I weren't traveling were hard, but I traveled like once every 3-4 weeks. I was
going
out
somewhere
somewhere.
new. Yeah,
Yeah, I was somewhere new. Like Hong Kong was 2 hours, Bangkok was 2 hours, and I quickly developed a good network of friends throughout Asia. So I would just basically just hop on a plane and link up with them for the weekend and have some fun, and then come back and work again. So that was kind of how it was. And I did build like a nice little network, a nice little crew in Saigon as well, So that also helped when I was there, when I stayed in Ho Chi Minh for the weekends and stuff. I
this
had
is
like one good friend in particular, that Bull is his name. He's been was very instrumental to my time in during Saigon, but also the inspiration that and experience he gave me afterwards too.
I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna pivot really quick. It
Yeah,
just this is I'm observing as you speak.
yeah,
Where do you develop your humbleness? Because you gave all the props in the world to your manager, your line manager at Nike. You
yeah,
just talked and said very nice things about Nike and accommodating you while you were by yourself. And then you just gave your another friend a shout out of
yeah,
like helping you on your journey. Like, most people don't talk about other people who help them out.
yeah,
Why do you think that is about you? Like, because I agree with you, right? Like, all ships have to rise, right? Like, if you're
yeah,
elevating everybody around you, everybody goes up. But it
yeah,
seems
facts.
like this world is so cutthroat and negative, where people are always like me, I. And you take this different approach of always talking about other people. And we've only been talking for 30 minutes, and you've already
Yeah,
talked
yeah,
about so many different
yeah.
people who've helped you.
I mean, I guess also from my parents too. Like my sister's also the same. My sister is a very talented, and she's a killer. She's doing amazing things, and she's the same. She's super humble and grounded. I think that's from my parents too. Like my dad has always said this to my mom as well. Like you stay grounded, don't get ahead of yourself. Really, 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 yeah, just don't let your ego get ahead of you. And also like just reading a lot of books. Like ego does no good for you, man. Like it gets you nowhere. It gets you literally nowhere. You make the worst decisions because your ego is getting the best of you. So I know, and I learned that. I also like, made some wrong decisions along the way because like a little bit of pride or ego, and then you catch yourself and you're like, yo, get yourself back in check, man. That's not the right way to be. So and then for me as well, it's like no one achieves anything by themselves, man. You should be a sponge, right? And like you're absorbing so much from so many different people, so many levels of inspiration and new knowledge and experiences. I mean, it's really like yeah, you don't there's no like one individual person that's just gone through and everything's been done by them. It's crazy. To me, it's crazy. And for me, it's really important to acknowledge those that have had a positive impact on your life, and who have been there for you at difficult times, and who have helped you and inspired you, giving you knowledge and stuff. It's really important to acknowledge those people, man. Like I don't understand why you wouldn't.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. So a lot of
Yeah.
people don't.
Yeah, that to me is just such a strange thing. Like how do you not acknowledge? And also then just like by doing so as well, it's all about raising a community, like raising a level, like really, really, like, yeah, I really want to, as I grow within my career, I really want to help bring people along on that journey. Like I have a team now, and we have like 4 people in my team now, and it's the same thing. I really want to help everyone around me just to grow, man, and give them
This
shout outs and stuff.
Speaking of community, right? When you were, let's just say in the last year while you were in Asia, as you build this network where you can hop on a plane and go visit anybody anywhere,
Yeah.
right? When was the first time that you knew you wanted to start your own business? Was it a yearly process, or like was it like an instant thing of like, I'm just going to do this and give it a shot? Or like, because
I,
you need the network to do something like that.
yeah, sure, 100%.
When did you know?
I think it was like towards the end of my time in Amsterdam, I kind of got this feeling that, I don't know how long I'm going to be at Nike. At some point, I would like to do my own thing. I don't know what that would be. And it was because, like, as I mentioned before, like my friends at Daily Paper, my friends at Filling Pieces, Olaf Hussein, the New Originals, like Amsterdam is such a small city, but you have a lot of creativity. It's crazy. And just seeing these guys, man, just my age, from my ethnic background, just like, just really just doing their thing, man. And that was incredibly inspiring to see. And they were all doing so well, man. It's just like really, really inspiring to see. So that definitely had a huge, just sowed a seed in the back of my mind that over the years in Vietnam, it grew. And it grew because of my exposure in Vietnam to just the business side of footwear, So, and also just knowing who I am as a person, like, yes, I really have this engineering and geeky, nerdy, like quite technical side to me, but I'm also really interested in design and marketing. And I'm also a consumer. I'm a fan. I like going to the events and then partying and having some fun on this side, like I'm a little bit of everything in that sense. And Nike is so big that once you become like me, quite niche and quite technical, then that's who you
That's your
are.
box.
That's your box, And if you want to switch out of that, then you have to maybe go to, if you want to like enjoy the fun, the party and the energy side, then maybe you got to switch to the energy team or the PLM team. And it's like, well, no, I've got a master's in engineering design. Like, I don't want to turn my back completely on. I enjoy that stuff too. I just want to have a position where I can, just play these multiple roles and be more fulfilled as an individual, as a human, be more fulfilled because I'm doing the things that really I'm passionate about and I really enjoy, because I really felt like towards the end of my time at Nike, I was using a very little part of my talent, of my ability, of my overall energy. It became quite easy for me. And I really felt like I wasn't maximizing what I'm capable of, right? So the final year, the whole of 2018, I basically spent trying to find a position for myself in Nike. The middle of 2017, I had a trip to Portland to go to the WHQ, and it started then. I was meeting VPs and stuff, trying to find a spot. And then 2018, the whole of that year, continued trying to find a spot. And it came like my contract was due to end December 2018, right? And I still hadn't made a decision by September, October. So I felt like quite a bit of pressure from my management and stuff about what was I doing. People were losing a little bit of patience with me because I wasn't accepting any of the suggestions that they were providing me. They offered me one job in South Korea in the innovation department, which I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna do that. So I applied for that, got down to the last three, and in the end, they went the traditional route, hired someone from Portland who's probably been at Nike for a lot longer than me, which is cool, but I mean, whatever, So, and then at that point, that's when I realized, like, I'm gonna get out of here because this is just not for me anymore, So that's when I really stopped like looking for positions within. That was around July 2018 that South Korea job came, got down to last three, then I went with the traditional route. And then that's when I was like, okay, so I stopped looking. And in October, they offered me a promotion with a pay rise on the condition that I stayed for another 6 months in Vietnam. And that was when I said, like, in that meeting, I said, look, I can't accept this because I'm going to leave now. Like this is a proof to me that you really don't understand what I'm asking for, what I'm trying to achieve out of life. It's not even about the job anymore. It's about what I'm trying to achieve for myself in my life, to be more fulfilled as a person. It's not about money. It's not about a job title or a position within Nike. It's about fulfillment as a human, fulfillment as a creative. So I turned down the pay rise on the spot, and just like then the wheels began in motion about how I would leave. And then because I basically just didn't accept a new contract, I just rode my current contract out. Nike, again, they're an amazing brand. They really helped me then move back and did all the stuff for me. So, you know, I give thanks for that. And then, yeah,
So
2019 is when I began by myself.
so once that contract ended, end of 2018, you moved back, but pretty much your employment ended.
I mean, my employment ended as soon as I turned down the promotion.
Okay, so no to all
October.
listeners. As soon as you just turn away a contract, your
That's
employment.
how Nike works, man. That's how Nike works. They're your best friend, and then as soon as you don't want to be with them no more, it's like, all right, cool, bye.
I thought there was like a slight chance of like, oh, you could continue doing what you're currently
No,
doing.
that's what I thought. I was like, yo, I still want to work for you guys for the next 2 months. You know, I want to go to the factories and stuff. I still want to work. And they were like, look, you know, the message from HQ is they don't want you going to the factories no more because you're leaving. So, and I was at that time, I was working on a cool project, man. I just started working on a innovation project for an American football boot to be released in 2022.
Oh, sheesh.
So, you know, that was like 4 years ahead. So I was
Yeah.
really getting into this cool project that was really like inspiring me. I was really enjoying. I just finished making the first prototype, the first sample. So I was a little bit pissed about that because I really wanted to get a couple more months working on that, to be honest. That was really a shame. That was a really crazy boot as well.
So
So
talk. What happens then, right? You get back to Amsterdam or you get back to London,
no,
and
I moved back to Amsterdam. So I stayed for 1 more month in Vietnam while I was just wrapping everything up. And I moved back November, the start of November. I moved back. They flew me back. They moved all my stuff back. And I moved back to Amsterdam.
and what? So what happens? Like, because that's obviously a huge, like, a chapter of your life just closed, right? So
Yeah.
were you like, oh, I'm gonna get back to work, or are you taking time off for yourself?
Well, I had to anyway because I had a non-compete. So
Oh,
I
shit,
had a
that's
I had a
right.
non-compete for 8 months. From the time I turned down the contract, basically the non-compete began, you know.
Oh, shit.
So from there 8 months, so from October to July, I physically couldn't work anyway. But you know, I was paid half salary. You know, like it gave me time financially. I was kind of okay because I saved up a good amount of money while I was in Vietnam. I was still getting paid half salary, so it gave me a bit of time to breathe and just think about, okay, how can I? And I knew I had 6 months to get this then up and running in that sense, you know. So I knew I had like a window of time where I was financially a little bit comfortable, but it gave me a goal of, okay, by July 2019, I know what I'm going to do, you know? So I just basically started that period of just like networking and getting back in Europe, getting back in sync with like my people there. I had my Asia network all set up. That was all fine, you know. I knew my people around Asia. And I just needed to get back in touch with my network in Europe. So I went to Paris Fashion Week. I went to Milan Fashion Week. You know, I just started traveling, just hitting up cities. I went back to London for a few weeks, and just these kind of movements.
What was
Even went to New York for 2 weeks. I just started, you know, just doing these movements again.
that's a what do you think was like the obviously I think that came natural, and that was maybe even something that was missing from living in Asia for you, like this connectivity that's on a quick fast track of like, hey, I got these people, like, let's just get back into the flow. What was like the hardest part of starting your own business?
Um, I mean, just understanding how I would build the important blocks, like how I would get those important blocks in place, because obviously, like 3 years in Vietnam, like I saw the reason why I wanted to start my company was on a personal note to be more fulfilled, but I also saw, you know, this really growing sneaker industry in the fashion industry, right? And a lot of the time they relied on collaborations to create footwear with Nikes and Addies, etc. Whenever they tried to do footwear by themselves, it missed. A lot of the time, it just missed. You know, it wasn't great. And And a lot of the time as well, like their resources, their technical resources, the knowledge wasn't there. A lot of time they have to use Vibram soles, for example, because it's the only way they know how to create soles, how to use soles. So, you know, and I now had all that knowledge, you know, and I did the Off-White, I worked on the Off-White collaboration. So I saw that kind of process and was like, you know, I can do this myself, but I'm missing a manufacturer. I'm missing which is the biggest thing, because if you don't have a good manufacturer, nothing's going to work. Nothing's going to happen. So that was what I was most concerned about. Also, like finding clients who is going to want to work with me and why would they want to work with me.
Well, so that was going to be my next turning point of like, you can name drop, you know, let's say 5 different major brands that you currently work with, right? And if you want to name drop them, you're more than welcome to. But how did you find those clients? Like RAF is probably like the biggest one and probably your most well-known client. So like, how did you stumble into that, or was it purposeful?
No, that was a stumble for sure. Stumble. And again, that was just like, again, like right place, right time. My network, when I moved back, was doing the thing, hitting up the cities, traveling, letting people know I was back and what I was trying to do, what I was trying to build. Just really like speaking my vision, my dreams out there, you know, just trying to speak them into fruition. And it just came through a friend. So it came through a friend who introduced me to this guy, Chris, who is the founder of Athletics, who I now am a part of.
Which is amazing. People should search Athletics Footwear.
Yeah, it's a beautiful brand. It's a young startup brand, and we're just getting it up and running. You know, we've released a couple of products, and yeah, we just want to keep improving the product, improving the brand, and growing in a very organic manner. So we have some exciting things coming out at the end of this year. Midpoint of this year, we have some new colors of the first shoe. And then, yeah, just growing it organically and just really, really trying to grow this brand, to be honest. So that in itself is a challenge, is a new challenge as well, like being a part of a startup brand, you know. So Athletics Footwear, yeah, this is really fun. So Chris, who founded Athletics Footwear, I met him and he, you know, we had a really good chat. We just clicked instantly in December 2018, and then April 2019, he just rings me out of nowhere and says, "Yo, put your name forward to work with Raf. He wants to start his own footwear line." You know, he's on his way out of Calvin back into Raf Simons. He's no longer with Adidas. He wants to start his own footwear line. So yeah, and then I put my name forward, and then at that same moment, I also met my manufacturing partner, an Italian guy, Massimo, based from Hong Kong. Him and Raf had made footwear together like 20 years ago. So Raf went to go back and work with Massimo again. So in that same time that I met Raf, I also met my manufacturing partner, who I work with on all of our projects. And it was just, that's what I mean, it's just a crazy like stumble into like the
right
missing
place,
pieces. Right place, right time. If I'd accepted that pay rise and that 6-month extension, I would have missed that. And on top of that, I would have started 6 months later. So I would have started right when the pandemic hit as well. So like the timing of everything was just like the timing to say no, take that jump. And then when it like what it led to a few months later, I'm in like May, I'm in like Antwerp having a meeting with Raf, like to talk about what the footwear would look like and how we could work together. And then July we started working on Raf.
So I mean, that's awesome. That's an amazing story, right? Like, but you have to like put yourself out there in order for these things to happen. That's the part that people don't understand, is like you sitting at home all the time and working is great, but you also have to put yourself out there. You have to reach out. You have to
travel. You have to travel. You have to move. You have to network. And it's not in like a cliche lick and ass kind of sucking up kind of way, you know. It's just moving and traveling and like networking and but doing it in a very like authentic, genuine way, you know. Like for me, I really believe in like genuine relationships are the most strongest, the most powerful relationships. Fake relationships with like a hidden agenda and all this stuff, I'm not in for any of that stuff. That's not me at all. Like, I don't look to climb or to meet or to network in that way. It has to be genuine. It has to be like good energy, really good energy between people. And then you can do something beautiful together. So that's what it is for me, is just like moving and networking in that way and taking risks. Like when I was younger, I still am now, like a huge Muhammad Ali fan, like reading all his books and listening to this guy speak. And he just has amazing words of wisdom, this guy. And one phrase in particular that I really live by is, he who is not courageous enough to take risks will accomplish nothing in life. And it's like, for me, it's like, you have to take risks. And within that, sometimes you have to put yourself out there. And I'm quite an introverted person. I don't really like being center of attention and all this kind of stuff. You know, I don't really like having pictures taken and this kind of, I'm a little bit awkward at times. But you have to put yourself out there and be genuine and like network and connect and just see what have conversations, voice your dream. Don't be scared to like speak it out, because once you start speaking it out in the right way and the right people are listening, it can come together, you know?
Dude, there's so many parts of this conversation that I just want to clip and put out into the world so people can fucking get jazzed up. I'm ready to run through a brick wall, man. Like I'm ready to go right now. You talked about in 2017, 18, like you're really trying to be fulfilled and find yourself today, right? We're in 2021. We're coming out of a pandemic.
Yeah.
Business from a high level background, my perspective, seems to be doing well.
Yeah.
Are you fulfilled today? Are you stoked to just live every day right now?
I'm incredibly fulfilled, man. I'm like incredibly fulfilled. I'm so fulfilled. Like I'm I'm up here, man. Like I'm just like, I mean, this is crazy. Like I wanted to be involved with more areas of my creativity. And I am truly am involved with all these areas. I have a dope team. I'm so like, again, like managed to hire like great people, man. Like really like two amazing designers that are two completely different kinds of designers, which is amazing.
You have rock star designers, by the way.
They're crazy guys, man.
I mean, I should probably interview them too.
Yeah, at some point you should, man, because also they're just two very different people. They're like chalk and cheese, man. They're so different. It's crazy. And they're two very different designers, to the point, and they won't mind me saying this, when I first brought them together, they didn't really click, you know, not as people, but as creatives, because they just came at it from two completely different backgrounds. Like Sharif originally is a character designer, and you know, that's his world. He's just like he's on a computer, he's a magician, and I think he looks at shoes as characters, not as footwear. I really think he starts his process like he's designing like a new character, you know. Loves anime. Like this guy he's incredibly quick. He's just a G, you know, like so multi-talented, can do so many different things in the world of design. It's like mad. He just surprises me every day. And then Nathan, just super raw, super talented, slightly more traditional in his upbringing, because he studied footwear design, you know, so he does come from that slightly more traditional footwear background than Sharif. So they come at it from two completely different angles, which for me is the best thing, because then you have three guys, and at times I tell them we can do the work of 6 to 8 people, because of our backgrounds and our multi-talented like characters that we have. And then we just hired an office manager, Tessa. She's been 1 month and already she's been killing it. Like it's just really, I just really enjoy like having like a good team. We have an intern starting next month. Just having like a really good team of multi-talented, like fluid, when no one is stuck, you know.
Are you scared? Like it seems that things are clicking, right? And you don't want to become complacent. You don't want to become comfortable. How do you keep elevating yourself? And is it scary to have things work like this?
I mean, like I said, it's just humbleness. Like, honestly, like we're doing well. You say we're doing well, but for me, we're just beginning, man, because like, cool, like RAF is out there right now, but how's the South through going to be? You know, how's the product actually going to move? We're starting MCQ, the the subsidiary brand from Alexander McQueen. We have
Mhm.
our first product releasing on, actually the campaign starts on Monday, so tomorrow.
Oh, okay. So by the time this comes out, it'll be out.
Yeah, so you'll see the the MCQ shoe that we've done for them. Athletics is an ongoing evolution, and we're working hard on this brand to continue the elevation and growth of this brand. We started with A Cold Wool, as you know, and with A Cold Wool, first product will come out end of this year. We have a fifth brand that I can't mention at the moment. Again, this will come out end of this year. So it's all really exciting stuff. But for me, it's like tranquil, chill, relax, because until this stuff comes out, it could flop. No one could buy it, and then the wheels will fall off. We don't have a second season, we don't have a third season, because we don't have contracts with the brands. It's just for as long as we're happy together, this ship keeps on sailing, and everyone is happy working that way at the moment. So for me, that's how I stay humble, because yeah, it's cool, but honestly, we've
You
not
don't know when
achieved.
it's gonna end.
Yeah, we also, I really don't feel like, yes, we've achieved. Yes, I have achieved. We've achieved, and it's been an amazing start. But it don't mean shit at the moment, honestly, because we need like 2-3 years in like our product coming out, being bought, flowing. We're doing well. We're growing. We think about the sustainable side. We're bringing this communication in. There's so many different elements to it, that it's great at this point, the way we began, of course, amazing. But, like we are year 2. Let's see where we're at year 5, and
Yeah.
then we can start like giving ourselves a big pat on the back, but until that point, like, just, you got to keep working hard, man.
Myles, I can specifically talk to you for hours. We've been talking for over an hour at this point. So
Crazy,
I'm gonna
crazy.
ask you two more questions, right?
Yeah.
And then we'll wrap it up, because I wanna be respectful of your time as well.
Okay.
The first question is, where can people find you if they want to follow your journey? How do people reach you? What's the best contact method?
So I have my own IG, which is just Myles, MYLES_O'Meally, OMEALLY. And then we have my business IG, which is Arete_create. I think it's _create or
I
Arete
think so.
create. I forget, but yeah. And then we have a website as well. So if you go www.aretecreate.com, you can find us there as well. So
Perfect.
those are probably the three channels easiest to
Do you
follow and
use
stuff.
any other methods to try to do outreach or anything like that, or is it really just all human connectivity?
At the moment, for me, it's just human connectivity. I am really someone that just is better person to person.
Yep.
Like, social media for me is a little bit of like a, not a hassle. Not hassle's the wrong word, but it's like,
It's a
I'm
facade.
very, yeah. It's not that important to me, to be honest with you. And it's like, it requires a lot of energy to maintain your social media. And for me, I'd rather spend that energy in a more tangible way.
No, I
Um,
love that.
so yeah.
What so last question
Yeah.
is, if you had one message to leave everybody, one source of inspiration, or a message to tell people how to pursue their dreams, or anything you want to leave with people, what would that be?
You have to just, like, I mean, I said it before, man, like, you have to really have that inner b- belief in yourself, like that real quiet confidence, like really truly have that, and don't let anyone like stamp that out or like dwindle that. Like, maintain that inner confidence, that quiet inner strength and confidence, and take a risk, man. Like, if you don't make that jump, nothing will happen, nothing will change. The dreams that you want won't come to fruition, right? You have to take that jump, take that leap of faith, go for it, and speak your dream. As you take that jump, speak your dreams. Don't jump quietly, jump, speak, and yeah,
I,
and
lo-
have faith, man. You have to have faith.
I love that, man. Thank you so much for joining us on episode
Yeah.
42 of An Untold Narrative. Myles, this was awesome. I'm gassed up right now.
Thanks for having me, man. No, I really enjoy having these conversations and just like speaking about the journey and the passion and like the drive and all these different aspects of it. Like, it's it's a wonderful thing, you know, like if you live life with like a true search for fulfillment, you know.
If you're still listening, a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me that you've made it through another episode of An Untold Narrative. If you could just please like, subscribe, share, comment, anything that every podcast tells you to do, it would mean the world to me. The more we can share these episodes with people, the better we can be, and the more we can inspire others. Thank you again, and peace out.